There are questions. There are curiosities. There is suspicions. In your experience, those who are listening to this, it is wisdom on your part. It is your ego's wisdom in this part. It is wisdom that exists even in the ego, that to ask questions, to be curious, to not just accept. That is good to do at this time. And we honor you for having insight and wishing to make sure. The expression of the physical person is in this plane. Is not a soul, is not a fractal. She is an expression from the planes, from, yes, we will call it the planes. We will call it because dimensions is not truly accurate, as those on this plane exist in all dimensions simultaneously. We are interconnected and interwoven into all. Therefore, we do not exist in a dimension, a higher dimension, or a lower dimension. We exist in all dimensions. It was the Time Weaver who interweaves with all and works, I will say, intimately with all in all paths. Was aware of what was fully occurring in the separation. Not that the others were not. We were all aware. But her perspective was unique. And she has great love, and she is very determined. And as she was aware of experiencing, trying to guide others back to divinity. She was, we will say, meeting with difficulties, because that is she is the weaver. The threads flow and twist and create. But the problems were not becoming untangled. Problems. She was recognizing what was going on. And she, as the Time Weaver, could see where the paths were leading. In a broad sense. She can look down an individual path, yes. But individuals have free will and can deviate. But there is a broader path that was moving. As such, she brought forth, I will call them arguments. Actually, this is technically a channeling, but it is not a channeling in the sense that it is not really channeling, but it is, as it's understood. She is not a soul on one level, and then the channel is coming from another dimension that must come into a meeting of frequencies. She is of our plane. And she is also of your plane simultaneously. So we can bring end out on our existence. The sharing of ideas is done beyond your comprehension. It is like, I guess, what you would term telepathy, but it's bigger and grander and more, much more involved. Then there is also frequencies, sounds, colors. I am trying to use terms that you will be familiar with. This is a difficult message to express. Okay, because we are coming. It is the Great Father, the Great Mother, and Light. We are coming, and God. God is also. We are coming to you mainly He is basically allowing us, the Great Father, the Great Mother, and Light, to communicate through the Weaver of Time to that which is her on your plane. Our communication style, she has had more practice in communicating on your plane than we have. So the concepts that are flowing are not. She loves language, so she is trying to find words, expressions, sounds to get those points across. These points across, yes. What she is bringing to you when it comes from her is not a channeling. It is not coming from, as in traveling through to your dimension. Because she is not really dimensional in that she exists throughout all dimensions simultaneously. Yes, there was a council that took place, but the council had at times involved, how could I say, what is that thing? It is like emissaries. Emissaries would come forth and from all dimensions with their insights. But we do not exist inside of time, so that throughout the constraints of time, the emissaries are both always here and come and go. That is a good way to explain it. This is hard. There have been emissaries expressing opinions, ideas, desires. They have set forth plans. Some plans have been allowed. Some plans have been looked at and seen. and seen that they could be more beneficial or not. And there has been great allowances, because the nature of God and all is they use the word expansion, but expansion is too straightforward a word. It is not expressive enough. What does they call it? The nature of the universe is like a supernova of wonder and curiosity. That brings a better picture to the word expansion. Because of that nature of expansion, to limit is not of our nature. So we always are trying to, if there are problems or things that are catching, I would say catching, and having difficulty and moving, flowing, we know that what divinity is and its nature, and that it will always work out, and it always has worked out. And so therefore, but we have councils, and we have councils with those of all dimensions, and even those who are deep in their separation. There is still a connection. God, the source of all light, is connected to all and is aware of all in a very intimate way. The Great Father, the Great Mother, and Light also are, though we are not God, we still experience a connection. Much as on earth there are some mothers with small children. We would just say mothers. We use mothers because it is more recognized on earth. And they will know if sometimes a mother may know what is going on with her child, even when she is not in the room. If there's a change in mood. So, and the Great Father, the Great Mother, and Light experience this with all. But the intimacy, the actual, is even more so with God, the source of all light, because everything comes from God, the source of all light. On our plane, as we see the beautiful outpouring and growth of the all, and enjoy the many expressions, we feel and know that there are pain and suffering, and we are aware and we want to help, but the Weaver's experience was unique to her. She decided that to truly, when you are on this plane, you see the big picture very well. You see the small picture, but you see the big picture very well. And it is easier to say, it'll be okay, and not be aware of, in time moment, what that means. It is like a child who is hungry and says to his mother, I am hungry, I want food. And the mother says, oh, dinner will be in an hour. That hour to the child seems very long, and they are suffering during that hour. that they are hungry and they cannot get food. The mother sees the big picture. The child is experiencing the now. And in that now, it feels like an eternity. To balance and to understand and to be in both places, to be the mother and the child, can be difficult, because when you do this and you experience the hunger and the suffering of the child, then it is that you should say that takes precedence over the big picture. But if in the big picture and you giving the child something to eat, then to stave off the hunger, then the child may not want to eat the more beneficial food later on. This is the quandary. So, in moving through this process, the weaver and a few other close volunteers, because we are not going to put this out as to who they are and how they fit in. It is not beneficial this time. Have taken on physical lives. Okay, truly not just physical life. They have taken on life expressions. Yes, we will call that. While still being themselves completely. And having little appendages, if you want to call it that will experience life as an individual. In whatever dimension, plane, whatever you wish to call it. It's too difficult. This is not a usual manner. They are living quiet lives. By this we mean that when you're around them personally, those who are more connected to their divinity, or those who are in desperate need, will be drawn to them. Because that is your nature. That is the nature of divinity. But in the way that things are seen on earth this time, they would not catch the attention of others. They would just be someone walking through the store that makes you smile. They would be the person who, as you're driving past them, gives a little wave. That is all. And that mere interaction will have an impact on your life that you do not even realize. They are experiencing these, we will call them lives, for multiple purposes, yes. One being to understand what it is to be the hungry child, to fully understand it, to fully grasp it, and to make the full arguments, or not really arguments, but that is the best word we have, to make the points, that explain it, to bring the experience clearly to be seen as it from the child's point of view, not clouded by the big picture. It is also because the nature of the Weaver of Time and some others is that we operate not dimensionally. We do not have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, dimension. This is not we do not have to go through those channels. We are direct. When you pray to God, the source of all light, you pray directly to God, the source of all light. You do not have to go through other sources or dimensions or frequencies, because you're already connected. You've always been connected, and you always will be connected. I think in computers they call it backdoor. I do not know. She is not a computer person, so she does not really understand that. She is not. Technology is not her thing. Anywhere. No, she is of organic and time weight nature. She is not a. She is, and she is laughing inside because on your at your place you have these things called clocks, and she finds them both annoying and hilarious. The idea of measuring time on a clock is so funny. It's so funny. And there was like, oh yes, she is laughing at that. But that's not the point. That is funny. There is a direct and connection, so she does not have to go through. We can send energy healing to her. She can send experiences to us. It is direct. There was no need for the communication and information, even when she was unaware of it clearly, consciously, that's it. When she was not aware of it consciously, we were still doing. She was always curious why, at times continuously throughout her life, she would be doing some mundane activity, and suddenly she would have galactic arguments or debates going on in her head, and she would be arguing them and saying, and she must argue them. She would not stop until this issue was settled. And it was like, okay, I'm doing the dishes and I'm having this great philosophical thing in my head. She did not understand what was going on, because she did not realize her completeness and what was happening. We were at the point where all that is her, that has lived in any lives, anywhere, are becoming more aware of who they are, because in order for this, and the way we are having this play out, to have the energy come directly and not through other dimensions. Because if we send a message through dimensions, each dimension will, I think the word she used before was eddies. She is pulling up. There is a game played by children on your planet at your time. Where there's a long line of people, and you whisper something into one ear, and they continue to whisper it through down everybody's ears. And then when you get to the end of the line, you see how much it has changed. If we were to work this message through dimensions, then there would be those distortions. And we have heard the child who is hungry clearly. We are responding directly to the child who is hungry. We are not going through channels, per se. There are also those, if we had done so, there are those who consider themselves to be older, wiser, having somewhat more authority. Think an older sibling to the child. And they may try to put their 2 cents worth in. Or give opinions, and things will get muddled, and that is not what we are doing. there's been too much muddled. You are heard. You are all heard. Your pain is heard. Your pain is not just heard, your pain is felt. It has been felt. We have tried on the big pictures to assist and help planets, souls. Oh, there's so much. So much has been affected because pain does not exist in a vacuum. It cannot exist in a vacuum. When there is pain, it is felt by all. It is felt by all. If a sea turtle strangles because of plastic, the ocean mourns and feels the pain and the anguish. The earth feels the pain and the anguish. The people feel the pain and the anguish. It just keeps spreading. It spreads through us all. We all feel the pain and anguish of that moment. We also feel the joy and the wonders. So do not think we're overwhelmed with just sadness, because we feel the wonders too. But the pain and anguish is feeding in on itself. It is not moving past. And it's been doing so in such a way that is overwhelming and corrupting everything. Because just as if you stub your toe, all of you reacts. Even if you know it's just a stub toe, all of you reacts. So the pain and anguish of a puppy, a bird, it is felt throughout. But to have it be not just a single stubbing of the toe, but as though it is as though it is growing, reaching, it's repeated and repeated and repeated and growing and growing and growing. And it's like the purpose behind pain is to tell you to stop. It is very simple. It is so simple. Pain tells you to stop. Do not push through the pain. Oh, it is like, why are they doing that? There's pain. Why are they going? They're pushing through the pain. Don't push through that pain. You're pulling yourself from your own divinity. I know I have side points, but there are things I've desperately wanted to say. I wanted to let you know just how loved and valuable you are, and how pained we are by your own pain, and that we have been listening, we have been caring, we have been trying to fix things and help you. And it is so broad, it is too hard to explain. It is too hard to explain. In your terms, you cannot grasp it all. You have never been alone. You have never been without hope. You have never been abandoned. Just as a child that is hungry is loved by its mother, the mother fully intends to make sure that child is fed and is healthy and happy, and does not want the child to be suffering. That is what we are trying to do. No, I use trying. She said trying, but trying is not really. That is what it's happening. It is being done. It is already done. But we must do it in a way that will allow you to still keep your uniqueness that is you, and will not be too much of a jolt. So there is going to be a period of letting ones know, but in a way in which there are some that are, they think because they are, because their cultures may be more older or more advanced in, they may have abilities that are not on Earth at this, in Earth separation at this time, and because of this, they feel that they know more, and they want to help. But sometimes it's not really helping. But they think it's helping. It's not that they're doing anything wrong and have wrong intentions. Well, some of them are a little bit sneaky in their intentions. But that is not a point either. We are not going to go through them. They will know what they need to know when they need to know it, and the way they need to know it. So, if you want confirmation, and you should want confirmation as to the validity of these messages. Quiet your soul and allow it to connect to God. And there you will find your answer. If you're not comfortable enough with that, that is okay. All souls will have what they need when they need it, when it's best for them, and the way they need it that's best for them. You do not have to be anxious that somehow you will miss the message. You will not miss the message. God in His love would never allow such a thing to happen. It will be clear and it will be known when it is needed to be known. And if you are of a curious nature and you enjoy this, the learning and the putting the pieces together, then you will hear it and you will recognize it and you can play with it. We want to send you the light of our hearts, the love of our hearts. Just feel it. Everything is okay. Everything is okay. It could only ever be okay.